content's so important as a focus point because it's literally in every aspect of your business now, like in your marketing, in your retention, in your front end sales.
If you have to rely on features to sell to an audience, stop. You're shit. You're shit at sales. Fix that. Fix your closing skills, bro. If you have to rely on, oh, I have an app, I have this, versus them actually liking you, you're not spitting game properly.
People want to consume things and you have to be efficient at producing them for different outcomes. Those first 60 to 90 days just need to be signal building. You've just got to be putting content out there to see what hooks work, what topics work, what things people say, what actually converts perfection, slows down the feedback.
What piece of content did you watch that made you spend money? How could I have made you spend money sooner? Those two questions. Those two questions, you get the answer to that, then you have a repeatable formula. Fucking apply it. All knowledge without application is useless.
Audience, trust, demand, clients, and once the engine's running, you just need consistency.
Yep.
Boom.
100%. 100%. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Brand Creator Podcast. Today we are talking about how to create your very own content engine from zero. So basically, we're going to walk you through what Dudley and I, what we would do if we were to restart from scratch and we needed to create content to make some sales for our businesses. Anything to add, Dudley?
No. Let's dig into it because everyone needs some sort of system or they'll just be all over the place with content. You might have noticed I've just changed my story strategy a little bit today. I'm just trying to play on something new, something that I've seen that you do as well, where it's the structured with the text and then a certain flow and then a CTA at the end. So I do put this into play for like clients and stuff like that. But it's just finding the right balance between showing some behind the scenes stuff and then also getting those CTA flows out on certain days. So I think what I'm going to try now is using that CTA flow one day and then go into a behind the scenes day and then CTA flow the next day. And then by behind the scenes day, I might just alternate it like that. So I get a good mix of keeping across why a lot of people come to me in the first place for the wild shit that I do behind the scenes.
100%, man. And I love that you mentioned the stories at first, because when we say content, or at least when I say content, what I quantify as a piece of content is story, reel, carousel, long form YouTube video, or tweet or thread post. You know, these are all.
I say anything that's creatives content, because I had that conversation this morning with my client. I was like, when you're creating lead magnets, that's content. When you're creating internal stuff for your clients, that's content. Like literally anything that is going to be put out there for the people to consume is content, and you need to take all as serious as each other. But because they all have their set place, a lot of people just think content is the front facing stuff, the social media, the reels that you post on Instagram, but it's not. Like, this is why I say content's so important as a focus point, because it's literally in every aspect of your business now, like in your marketing, in your retention, in your front end sales, like every single part now. People want to consume things and you have to be efficient at producing them for different outcomes.
100%, and I love that you mentioned that as well, because I was solely thinking in the realm of like front end, but it's very, very good to mention that content is it quantifies all of those things as well. And I would even take it a step further and say content is also something that's quantifiable as content. In my case, is when you make like internal SOPs for, let's say, when you hire someone and they need to do something, a task step by step. That's a piece of content that you should take fucking seriously as well, because think about it, like. For example, a VA, you're going to go through VAs. VAs are not fucking with your mission, or very rarely will they fuck with your mission for long enough to stay with you for a decade. I'm being optimistic here, you know? So you got to have these pieces of content within your business to like really be able to cycle through these people. If someone goes out, not the end of the world. Hire someone else. They watch the content, internal content within your business. They're ready to go after day one. So,
and even that piece of content that I see that you have as well, something that I need to get into flow, is when someone fills out a consultation form and then they have their multiple pieces of content breaking down a lot of FAQs that are immediately there, accessible to watch and just see what your service is actually about. Like that's content there.
Yeah, 100%, man. It is. And like anyone that goes on a call with me, now they're framed. They know they're going to have to make an investment if we're a good fit or not. And it answers every objection that I've ever went through in a sales call. So it saves so much time, because, you know, people, they go in and they expect, okay, I'm getting in this call, I'm going to work with Gabe. So this is well. But if we're strictly speaking front end and how to get customers to book calls in the first place, to want to buy you as a human being, there's a certain system you want to use. But something that I'm noticing as well is it's still kind of nuanced because there's this fine line between using a system, using a framework, and being authentic. You know, tell me, Dudley, like it's weird. How do you find it? I want to know, like you personally, because you're very good at this. You're very good at this, whether you realize it or not.
I'm
I think you know.
I'm a run and gun guy. Me, I am a
Yeah,
run and gun. So I tell people to schedule the content and to plan the content and to structure the content. But me personally, I'm run and gun. And I was speaking to another videographer, or someone who's like an actual videographer, and he was saying he does the same. Like, don't do what we teach. Do what we teach. Don't obviously do what we do. Um, but I think when you have a certain level of creative mindset and a creative flow, like, and you've been doing it for years, you can be that run and gun. You've got more room to be that run and gun guy. But when you are new coming into content, where a lot of coaches are, they don't have the film background that I have or the background in creative media that I have. They're going to have to be a lot more planned and a lot more structured with it. And as you kind of grow over time and understand yourself, understand the business, understand social media, understand content, you can be a lot more run and gun with it then, because you can just pick up on stuff. Because with some pieces of content, you might just identify something that someone else has done, and then it's your job to go there and create it right now, because speed is also of essence.
yep,
So when you're running and gunning it, you do have the upper hand on speed, whereas someone who structures it does not have the upper hand on speed. But then someone who structures it might have an upper hand on targeting. They might be able to dial in
yep.
that targeting a little bit more. So positives and negatives to both sides. But me personally, I do prefer to be a run and gun guy, but I try and have an idea of some sort where I'm heading with things.
Yeah, yeah. Same here. I'm very run and gun as well. Like for me, I'm able to from ideation to post on my feed. I can accomplish this within 10 minutes. Idea, film, edit, post, boom, done. So for me, it's very, very easy. Like since we last spoke, I've actually ramped up my content output. I'm doing two a day now. Doing two a day because I've got the hang of the framework that I use. And this is how I use frameworks personally. I do agree that when you're starting, you do need like a level of structure, a higher level of structure, and a plan, a set plan. Okay, Monday do this, Tuesday do that, Wednesday do this. But that's because you're getting your feet into it, and it's much easier for you. Okay, this is what I have to have prepared. But as Dudley says, you get that experience, and then now you know. Like today, the reel I just posted, I'm on a fucking scooter, and I was just talking shit, but it was productive. I knew in my mind I had to talk about, I had to do, I'll get into the topics, the different types of content, the different variations that I like to put out. But I knew in my mind, okay, I have to do a credibility post. And then I was like on the scooter, so I told my brother, okay, film this. And then I took the opportunity. I was just on the scooter, great hook. I'm like, scooter update. Today my client made 1.5K. This other guy also made 1.5K. Here's how, blah, 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 blah. So that's a credibility post. It's when you lead with results, when you showcase client results. The other posts that I would, the other variations that I use are authority, educational, attention grabbing, and personal slash nurture. And then you have credibility. So there's these 5 pillars that I like to cycle within my content. I know that my general system is I'm going to do one. I'm going to do one every day. And for my second post is usually an authority post because I have a very, I'm in a flow state. I like to use undocumented content for my authority content when I'm in a flow state. When I have my client check-ins, I have my camera here, I'm recording everything, and then I'm taking the Fathom transcripts, putting it in my GPT or in Manus or whichever AI I'm using at the moment, and then I'm telling it what is the best part of this call to post this content. Boom, two, three parts of the call, great calls, a great transcripts, and then I have that. So every client check-in turns into like 5 pieces of authority content for me. How would you quantify like your posting strategy before I break down like personal nurture, authority, credibility?
So with me personally, I go off of just luxury content and low-graft content. They're my 2 main sayings when I'm talking about like content structure. luxury content is like one of the reels that I posted the other day. So it's more highly edited. It will be more of a fancy camera, and it will be kind of like a standpoint piece that'll give you a lot of authority. It gives your brand like it makes your brand look very well put together as well. So that's a luxury piece of content, and then you've got the low graph content, which the majority of your feed should be, which is just like the FaceTime content, the talking to the camera content, with sharing valuable tips, but by literally just going like this and just talking about it. Because I think these both tick multiple boxes. Each, like I said, the luxury one, you take authority there, you take value, you take obviously your understanding of all the situations with education wise, and then again you can hit the value with the low graft one, but then you also pair that with proof of life too, and connection, audience connection and emotion. So the pairings on both of them are different, but they tick a lot of boxes.
Yeah, I understand, and I do see the cross-referencing between the different variations I just mentioned. Like a personal nurture storytelling piece for me could very well be an educational, where by telling my story, I'm solving a specific problem because this is how I solved XYZ problem 3 years ago in my business. So 100%, 100%, I do see where you're going with that, man. Where I think it's essential to what I think is essential to understand is the reason I'm talking about these five variations is because they tick many boxes, and as a creator, you as you do more, you're gonna refine the strategy, and you're gonna understand, okay, this is what my audience resonates with the most, that I'm talking to. Maybe you're a great storyteller, or maybe you're great in the flow state and you're great at recording yourself talking to your clients, or doing other things like while you're in the field doing your expertise. Maybe you're very good at maybe you have a shit ton of client results, you know. So it all depends on the current situation, but let's start with credibility. So credibility is leading with results, as I mentioned, and then explaining how you got the results. And even better if your client can speak in your place. Even better, you have an interview clip or you have a check-in clip and your client is saying, here are my results. And then after you explain the results, it adds a layer of authority. And then you have authority. Authority is when you're in your flow state doing your thing. That's what I quantify as authority. It's like you're showcasing what you're good at. And me, I'm very good at speaking. Very good at speaking with my clients. That's how I solve their problems. I'm a consultant. So this is my authority. That's what I quantify as authority. As a bodybuilder, it could be you posing. It could be you on stage. It could be you training. You know, it's different. It's from case to case. Educational is problem solution. Client problem, ICP pain point. Here's my solution. It should be actionable. Should 100% be actionable. It shouldn't just be theory. They should leave that video ready to like take action with the specific solution to the problem that you're facing. Attention grabbing, it's well, whatever grabs attention. You know, you could throw an egg, you could crack an egg on your head, and you can be you could talk about something educational that would be quantified as attention grabbing, or you can go simple, you know, with the controversial quotes, things like that. And then you have personal nurture. Personal nurture is where you showcase more of your personality. But where I think the market is shifting, and I'm sure you've noticed this as well, is that personal nurture side, which is why you're saying that people's feeds need to be like majority FaceTime style videos. And I 100% agree with that. Even if I don't do FaceTime style, I don't know why. I prefer filming everything on my FX3. Even if it's FaceTime style, like I prefer doing it all on my camera. I just like that. Again,
But saying that as well, I think there also is a thought where it's like, okay, well, what's the percentage with B2B versus B2C? I think B2C probably definitely needs to be higher more in that FaceTime realm, whereas B2B, for something that you're trying to do, you might want to be putting out more of that high quality stuff anyway, because that does convert better with B2B, because B2B understand that they're being sold to, and they're willing to be sold to. Whereas when you're coming in at B2C, you're going out and trying to get just normal people clients. You want to you want them to sell themselves before you sell to them. And the way that you can do that is by just making it feel easy to consume content rather than they're watching it and immediately feel like they're being sold to.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. But then again, like there's always outliers, man. Like I'm thinking, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about this guy named John Mark Stevenson who makes more money than me. I'm gonna catch up to him for sure. Uh, I'm gonna catch up to him, but he's making 250K a month USD, and all he does is
Yeah,
FaceTime videos. He does like
yeah,
10
yeah. I've
FaceTimes
seen,
and 12 stories a
I've
day.
seen a lot
He's
of,
making
yeah,
You've seen him, right? Mr.
yeah,
Free Value. Mr. Free Value. He makes he's printing, bro. He's fucking printing. He's like 21, has a Ferrari, I think. And this guy only does FaceTime videos. So
yeah.
I think the most important in any like B2C, B2B, any info product, any especially info product, coaching, agency, it all depends on your ability to spit game. Can you spit game?
Mm.
If yes, you'll do very well. You'll do very well. But then after specifying into those five variations or choosing between luxury and non-luxury content, I feel like that's just a matter of personal preference and how
Mm.
well can you convey the specific thing you're trying to convey within those two, within luxury or non-luxury. Because I've tried both, bro. I've tried both, and
Yeah.
for me, it's like, bro, the ROI is not worth it on luxury content. It's not fucking worth it.
Mm.
Because what I've seen is like,
I did a full breakdown of into my community of the edit that I did on the last reel that I posted, where it's that luxury piece of content because I did it
how
myself. I
long did
didn't
it
send
take
it to
you?
an editor, and it took me longer than it would to just put up the phone and just speak the exact same words. Um, but like I
Yeah,
said, I think it's good as a standing piece of content once or twice a week on the feed. So I always say, like,
yeah,
if you can't do it yourself, send it to an editor because I
yeah,
do think it does help uphold authority as well with some people because we got to look at the general population's expectations too. They expect your brand to be standing in line and looking some sort of way. So if you can uphold that image that I am above you without sounding like an idiot, like dickhead, that I am above you image, then that can hold well in terms of authority. So I do think it does have its place. I think sometimes as well, this is probably going on to something different, but let's just chat about it real quick. In the coaching space, I would love to go back to WhatsApp coaching. I would love to go back to that. You know, where it's just simple. We're talking about like luxury and low graft. This is the same within like the actual practices of coaching. Everyone has apps and stuff now. And
yeah.
are the apps actually needed? Do you know what I mean? Are the apps actually needed? Or can we just go back to WhatsApp coaching? Because that's where the actual work is done. And if we're comparing that to the luxury reels and the low graph reels, the low graph reels where you're just talking straight to the camera, the easy stuff, that's where the groundwork is actually done. That's where people that learn without all the fluff, without all the extra stuff. I would love to just go back to the easy stuff. But the audience expectation is every coach needs an app. Or if you've not got an app, I want to go to this coach just because he's got an app. Or this coach has got luxury content. I want to go and work with them just because they've got luxury content. Do you know what I mean? It's audience
Yeah,
expectations sometimes that we're trying to keep up with, as well as
yeah. I
everything
see.
else.
I see. But what I've actually seen is like the audience that I've sold to, if you have to rely, I'm going to put it this way for the people listening. If you have to rely on features to sell to an audience, stop. You're shit. You're shit at
Mm,
sales. Fix that. Fix your closing skills, bro. If you have to rely on, oh, I have an app, I have this, versus them actually liking you, you're not spitting game properly. I'm pretty sure,
yeah,
Dudley, you would have clients, whether you were using Circle, whether you were using Discord, whether you were using WhatsApp, you'd have
yeah,
fucking clients. You'd have fucking clients.
yeah.
What happens after the door, it's like they'll be happy with it anyway because the main thing is you bring them results and people like working with you,
Result.
people fuck with you, right?
Yeah,
So that's the main
yeah.
thing
That
from what I've seen.
that that's the main thing. I just like it's something that sticks in your head though. I speak to a lot of coaches, and a lot of us are just like, yeah, WhatsApp coaching. I'd love to just be able to do, but it sticks in your head that I feel like I have to do this because it's the expectation of the audience. Do you know what I mean? Rather than it's actually the best practice for the coaching. So anyway, let's spin it back to content.
Yeah.
So if we go to repeatable content formats, I think it's important to have certain locations that you're filming as well if you're building this system to have consistent content.
Yeah.
Like because we use a signature scene play in the lab, and the signature scene play talks about how your audience subconsciously connects what the video is going to be about just because of the location that you're in. So if you always do talking head rant reels in your car, let's say, you'll have certain people in your audience that enjoy that bit of content that you put out. So as soon as they see you sat in your car about to speak, they know it's going to be a rant and they will stay tuned for that. As soon as they see you in the kitchen, they will know it's going to be about food. As soon as they see you in a setup like this, they know it's going to be a value driven post. Like, they connect locations to like kind of what the actual context of the content is. And I think it's just super important for consistency as well, because you connect what you're talking about in a location too. So, you know, right, when I'm doing videos here, I'm talking about a certain thing. When I'm doing videos in my car, I'm coming in with this tone, I'm coming in with this angle, and that's how I'm going. So it helps you be more consistent in your content as well by having those locations where you shoot pieces of content.
Yeah, that is very helpful. That is very helpful, and 100%, 100%. But as soon as you said value, my mind was thinking about the value equation. The value equation, how I see value, and I feel like the audience listening to this, you guys should start thinking about this as well, to have more intention behind every piece of content you post. The value equation is entertainment or education, right? But if you can do both at the same time, you'll win. No questions asked. You'll win. You will eventually win. So if you can make people laugh at the same time as them being educated, you'll win. You know, it's like getting girls. If you can make her laugh, you should do whatever the fuck you want with her. Same thing with your
Yeah,
audience. You
I,
have to
I
appeal
always
to
I
them.
say this. I say this. We spoke about on a call as well recently.
Yeah.
How when you're imagine being back in school, and they ask you what teacher's lesson do you want to go sit in. You're always going to choose your favorite teacher, the teacher that makes you laugh, the teacher that makes it fun, the teacher you enjoy to be taught by. Not necessarily going to pick the smartest teacher. You will pick the teacher that
Yes.
that you have fun with, and that's important for coaches to understand, because you don't have to be the smartest in the room, but you have to be able to still provide that value, yes, but also get that connection, have that little bit of entertainment, because they'll always choose the favorite teacher over the smartest teacher.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100% spot on, man. Spot on. And yeah, the locations are important too. And I do see the correlation between your audience, you know, as you say, subconsciously wanting to watch is, especially if they have the habit of watching you in a specific place, like, because subconscious rules everything, whether people realize it or not. Like, that's what literally runs your life. So I love that you linked it with doing it in different places. And to be honest, I haven't thought about it like that. I haven't thought about it like that until
Because
now.
it was just for me, it was like I used to do a lot of just talking head reels in the car, and every single time I'd do those, the rants. And I just, when I was getting feedback from people and talking to my audience, they know as soon as they see me in the car go like this with my phone, I'm about to chat some shit and annoy some people and trigger some people and rage bait some people. So they would stay tuned because they see that motion of me putting my phone at the front of my car, and they're like, oh, it's about to go down. So they automatically in their head, they're saying, I'm about to watch them and staying for this piece of content because I know where it's going. Whereas like if I was to chat the same stuff but in a different location, they might not have had that initial subconscious thing that tells them to stay, and because they wouldn't know what's going to come next. What am I going to actually be talking about? So I found it when getting feedback from my audience that they noticed that subtly, that small thing of, okay, Dudley's in his car, he's about to like rage bait.
Yeah, yeah, and audience, and I love what you said there. Audience feedback is very important as well. You can't be successful if you don't take your audience feedback seriously. You know, like, especially in this content game, what you guys got to realize is, yes, you're making content for you, but the reality is you're making it for other people. It's other people that are gonna judge whether this is a good piece of content or a shit piece of content. As much
Yeah,
as, you know, a bunch of people, they're like, oh, make the content for you. Yes, but if nobody fucks with your content, you're not going anywhere. You're not going
yeah,
anywhere. You know what I mean? So audience feedback, very important to, like, religiously look at your metrics, I would say, you know, from the back end perspective, and even not being afraid of, like, in your after your sales calls, when you onboard a client, having a form, some sort of form, asking them like, uh, what piece of content did you watch that made you spend money?
Yeah. Yeah,
How
I always
could I
tell
have
people
made
to ask
you
this
spend
question.
money sooner? Those two
Mm,
questions. Those two questions. What piece of content made you spend money, and how could I have made you spend money sooner? Those two questions, you
yeah.
get the answer to that, then you have a repeatable formula.
Yeah, yeah, and then you can double down on things. So if someone was new today to just obviously creating content, we've given a
Yeah.
few bits of advice there, but breaking it down to just like, because this is the one of the ultimate questions is how many times should I post per day? Someone starting zero today, just starting their online coaching business, they've just set up their Instagram. What's the posting strategy there? Do they post once a day, twice a day? Do they focus on stories? Do they focus on what's the main focus?
I would say there is more than one way that leads to Rome. If you have a very spontaneous personality like me or Dudley, where you can just talk shit no matter what you're doing, like I could do this podcast on the toilet bowl, I wouldn't give a shit. I would be still be spitting game, you know. But then volume, 100% volume. Just post, be yourself. Focus on entertaining. Focus on giving value within the five variations, and decide whether you want to do undocumented, not undocumented, or documented. Decide whether you want it to do polished or less polished with the editing. See which one, if you have skills, go polish. If you don't have skills, just go unpolished. Volume, volume, volume. But if you're someone who's more strategic, more careful, I would focus on the quality of what you're saying and really focus on, yeah, just the quality of what you're saying within the piece of content itself. And when I say quality, it's not the camera, it's not the edits, it's what you're saying, the copy of the video, and the setting. Where are you? Does it look good? I mean, is it in HD? At least make it in HD. If you're filming it with your iPhone 12, that's fine, but make it in HD. As long as you have those two things down in terms of quality, and that you understand yourself well. I can do this amount of workload. I'm very quick on my feet, volume, or I'm a thinker. I need time. Like, go with go with more of a structured strategy. But try to hit all of those five different variations that I mentioned. That's
Yeah,
how I would
those
go about it.
first those first 60 to 90 days just need to be like signal building and just
Mhm.
understanding, especially if it's a page from scratch. You've just got to be putting content out there to see what
Yeah.
hooks work, what topics work, what things people save, what actually converts, or if you're not converting him within that first six, well, you probably should get a couple of conversions within that first 60 to 90 days if you're starting from scratch. But like, what are those pieces of content that you're getting clicks on? Are you getting any follow throughs on your lead magnets, and what content is it from? So it's just all signal building. Because if you sometimes reach for too much perfection, it just slows down the feedback. And as
Yeah.
we know, like, feedback from the audience is everything. The more feedback you get from the audience, the better that you can understand and keep putting stuff out. And volume kind of speeds up that learning in a way.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. 100%. The market's always right. 100%.
So another good strategy as well, building this content system, is even right from the start, just try and film long form content. I tell my clients as well who solely just film short form content and they don't think they're at the point yet where they're allowed to shoot YouTube videos and stuff like that. Like, they just don't see the point in it, or no one's going to watch my YouTube videos, etc., etc., etc. I don't think it's the point of anyone watching the YouTube videos. It's more of a point of you having consistent bank of content and a large bank of content that you can consistently pull from, whether that is to micro content it down for reels, or it is to send the 10-minute 59-second to a client when they ask a question. Like, there's so many ways that you can use long form content. So it's just how can you get all of your knowledge that you know onto a video format for the most part of it, because then you can share that with clients internally, or you can put it externally and micro content it, and it saves so much time. So that's like, any client calls you do. You could even long form like gym sessions if you're just putting up a camera and just talking while you're training, working just your usual work days, just capturing that. Uh, any decisions you make, your wins, your losses, just thoughts, frustrations, everything, just try and long form it. And then you can have bits to pull and put on
Yeah.
social media.
Yeah, and it's very good for exposure as well. It's very good for exposure, very good for reps, 10-minute long form, it's like 10 short forms. Except you're going to be in the flow state, you're going to be uninterrupted, and you're going to develop that flow state as well. And as well, like, it's not about the views on YouTube. It really isn't. For sure, it'd be nice. It's always nice to have views. Who doesn't post who posts content and doesn't like views? Nobody. So, but what you got to understand on YouTube is like one view on your 10-minute video is like 1,000 views on your reel. You know, so that's what it's worth in terms of value. Like the value per view is a lot higher because someone that can sit down and watch you while they're eating their fucking breakfast or they're doing the cardio or they're doing whatever or they're about to fall asleep, they can sit down and watch you for 30 minutes, much more likely to be a client, much more likely to buy whatever you're trying to sell.
That's why in a lead flow, if we go on to building a conversion path from this content, now we've talked about like all the building the content systems and like what to post, how how many times to post it. If we talk about building a conversion pathway now, I like people to put a YouTube video within that conversion pathway. So the funnel that I like to go with, so if I go from getting someone from content to client, we obviously got the content, which is on Instagram. So that's the reels. Then the reels will lead into lead magnet number 1, which is like a quick win lead magnet. And then that quick win lead magnet that will then lead people onto a deeper in-depth lead magnet, which will be like a YouTube video, 15-minute overview of a topic or something like that. And then from there, you can book in calls, you can lead them to your low ticket offer, your high ticket offer, whatever you've got. But that YouTube video being within that pathway is super important for just building that trust and getting someone to sit down with you longer and getting them to understand what it's like to have an actual coaching call and a conversation with you. So I think it's super, super useful to have pieces of long form content out there so people can build that trust and actually understand who you are.
100%. To get on a call with me, you need to watch at least 2 YouTube videos. You need to watch a YouTube video solving the specific problem you mentioned in your DMs, or and a case study, one of my case studies. And then after, you have to watch the thank you page to make sure we're not wasting each other's time. But yeah, it's very, very important.
You have a specific flow that takes someone from content to client, and anything that you like people to follow.
My thought process around it is, and this is how I get clients. It's short form ad, basically short form ad to get people, to follow, etc. And then they live in the ecosystem now. They see my story sequences, which are very important because they work on a subconscious level. Like, yes, you'll get CTAs, yes, you get people that DM you, but what's important is the story sequences, they work on a subconscious level. When I say story sequences, it's go on my Instagram or go on Dudley's Instagram. I hope you put the story you put yesterday in one of your highlights. I hope you did. So people I'll
get it in. I'll get it in.
Yeah. Go on any of my fucking highlights and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Picture, text that pops out on different photos. And the way I do it is I always lead with, like, 80% of the time I lead with results. Client just made this much. Client just made that much. Client just closed this many clients, or different types of wins. And imagine you're a follower and you're an online coach and you see that on my page for a week. You're going to have some sort of FOMO. So by the time I reach out and identify your bottleneck, and you're like, okay, what does this guy do? Is he a scammer? Is he a scammer? And then you're in my DMs, and I show you that I actually solve problems by sending you the lead magnet number 1 in Dudley's case, or me, it's just simple YouTube video. You watch that, and you're like, okay, this is useful shit. I like how this guy's thought process works. I like the way he can articulate his thoughts and put it on a video. What would it be like to work with him? Let's apply this in my business. But more often than not, people, they just, after watching the video, they just want to book a call anyway. They're like, okay, let's book a call. So then, and then I book the call with them. Same day, I send them a case study. And then morning of, I send them the thank you page of the booking. So it's fresh in their mind that it's an investment call and not a free fucking strategy call.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to wrap this up now. Let's give someone an actionable task and say, okay, if we, let's think about the whole, just everything that needs to be
Yeah.
built within content, because we touched on that right at the start, but we only really talked about the front end side of content and picking up
Yeah.
kind of clients and leads and stuff from that. So let's think about the entire content system, the videos that you have internally with your clients, the videos that you have on your thank you page, the
Hmm.
videos that you have at the front of the page, the videos that you have on YouTube, all these different videos and stuff that you
Mm.
have inside
Mm.
the business. What is the actual first one? You're starting as a coach. What's the first one that you create? Do you create internal videos first, or do you just go straight creating like the the front facing stuff and then build the internal stuff while you're kind of doing that, or what order would you go in?
Depends on who you are. If you're very, very good at what you do and you're very competent, then start internal because you know your shit brings results. Like if you have 100% without a doubt, you can bring somebody results. Internal videos first, the videos for your clients for fulfillment, because this solves a time problem later. So you don't have to you don't have to be a slave to calls. So this solves that problem. So solve that problem first. So when you start getting, because you don't know how fast this shit can blow up. You don't. There's no fucking timeline. It could take 2 years. Could take 2 days. Honest to God. So fix that first. Get the internal videos out there. Whatever your clients need to know as educational stuff to get from point A to point B, put it on WAP, put it on Discord, put it on Circle, put it on whatever fulfillment platform you use, and then start marketing around it. Start marketing around it. Because it's very easy then with the different steps, with the different modules, to now make long form videos based off of the modules, based off of the specific things. And then from the long form, then you can make short form. So that's what I would do if you're very, very good and you're a competent person and you know you can bring results. But if you're newer, you're like, oh, I want to start coaching. Let's post some content. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah,
Start with the front end. See how the market reacts to you. See what the market actually wants from you, and then after, build the offer. So two specific routes for two different types of people.
with the internal content, just to finish off as well, like with the internal content, how often would you refresh that database?
Every time I have a question, I hate answering the same question twice. So every time I have a question, a new module comes out. And I announced it in my Discord. I at everyone, good morning, everybody. New module comes out based off of this call that I had last week. As you all know, I hate answering the same question twice, so please watch this video.
Yeah, that's good because it'll build up over time. It'll build up a lot over
Yeah.
time, and you won't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
any ridiculous questions. So that's from zero to building a whole content system. And like we've said, you need to think of everything as content because
Yeah.
content just runs the world at this moment in time. And the people that you are getting into, so they want to see content in multiple formats, some low graph stuff, some more luxury stuff, some tech stuff, email, like video, picture, content in every single format. Just get efficient at producing it.
Yeah.
AI makes it so much easier for you now. Actually, I keep saying just before we finish, but I keep thinking of things that can help people. Top AI tool to help with content flow.
Manus.
Yeah,
Manus.
yeah,
Bro, Manus,
yeah.
bro. It's crazy. For the internal modules, bro, I just been sending like my ICP and I've been sending like I just been saying like I just been sending the question that I got and my ICP doc. I'm like, I got this question. Solve the problem for me. Create a presentation slide deck. And then I
The
just talk over
presentations are crazy on there. Yeah, yeah.
it.
If no one's used Manus, then message one of us and we'll send you our referral code so we can get some free credits as well because it will run up your bank account.
That's true, bro. That's true.
But it's Chat GPT on steroids, basically. Yeah. Have
Yeah.
you got anything to close out?
I mean, I know a lot was said in this video. A lot was said, but you probably fall under one of the two categories. Either you're very, very confident in what you do, you know you bring results, you can, or you're newer to this. So apply. You know, if I want you to do something on this podcast, fucking apply it. Apply. Don't listen to this. Don't listen to this and go jack off after. Apply. Apply. This is the only way you're going to get any of these strategies to work for you. Otherwise, it's just another podcast that you listen to, another 30 minutes of your life wasted. All knowledge without
Yeah.
application is useless.
Yeah, we always say that. So audience, trust, demand, clients, and once the engine's running, you just need consistency.
Yep,
Boom.
100%, 100%.